Good afternoon, children. Welcome to AIMS India online classes. Biology session. Nutrition in plants. So, from the past 4 days, we have been discussing about the nutrition in plants, that is autotrophic nutrition, and heterotrophic nutrition in plants. In the heterotrophic nutrition, we have discussed about the parasitic plants, we have discussed about the symbiosis, and we also discussed about the insectivorous plants. Some interesting concepts completed. So today, how the nutrients are replenished into the soil, because after every crop the farmer is going to add some fertilizers. Why? Because the nutrients are lost in the soil, absorbed by the plants. So if you replace those nutrients, then the growth and yield of the crop will be normal. Okay, so let us see replenishment of nutrients in soil. Some bacteria and fungus, particularly the fungus, lives in the roots of plants. The roots of the plants provide shelter and food to the fungus, while fungus provides the important nutrients to the plants. Okay, in this way the nutrients are added to the soil. Because of continuous farming, the nutrients keep declining in the soil. Hence, replenish those nutrients, fertilizers are added to the soil. In order to replenish the nutrients in the soil, fertilizers are added to the soil. Plants require a lot of nitrogen. Nitrogen is one of the important nutrient required for the growth of the plant. The plant to grow and to be healthy, they require nitrogen. Although a lot of nitrogen is available in the atmosphere, but plants cannot absorb the nitrogen in the gaseous form. So yesterday we have discussed how the nitrogen is converted to the useful form. A bacteria by name Rhizobium bacteria. Okay, it replenishes the nitrogen in the soil. So replenishment of nutrients in the soil, once again there are some bacterium called Rhizobium bacteria which lives in the root nodules of legumes or leguminous plants like groundnut, gram, moong means pulses plants belongs to pulses group. So these bacteria can absorb the nitrogen from the atmosphere and make it available for the plants. Rhizobium cannot make its food, hence it provides nitrogen to the leguminous plants, and in turn the legumes provide bacteria food and shelter. This is a good example of symbiotic relationship. This has great importance for farmers. The fields in which the leguminous plants are grown from time to time do not need addition of nitrogenous fertilizers like urea, NPK manure. Okay, need not to add. So that's why a method called crop rotation, scientific method, crop rotation method has been introduced to improve the yield without adding more chemical fertilizers. Okay, so rotation of crop is having two advantages. One is it will replenish the nutrients in the soil. The second one is it will stop the diseases spreading. If the same crop is grown in that field for many years, what happened? The diseases may be occurred repeatedly. The soil loses its vigor. Okay, so crop rotation is the best method suggested to replenish the nutrients naturally in the soil. Rhizobium bacteria, the bacteria, useful bacteria present in the soil in association with leguminous plants or Fabaceae members of plants, pulses. Okay. Next, so manures and fertilizers. What is the difference between manures and fertilizers, children? Manures are somewhat natural. Fertilizers are chemical. Chemical fertilizers, natural manures. Manures are made from naturally available materials. Fertilizers are made from chemical substances. So manures, when they are added to the soil, they increase the humus. Humus means the moisture of the soil will be retained for a long time and some nutrients are added. But when fertilizers are added, the humus is not grown. Fertilizers give instinct result. We cannot replace the fertilizers with manures. Fertilizers are specific, means the nutrients which are present in the fertilizers are specific, but the manures are natural fertilizers. They slowly add nutrients to the soil. Okay. Manure is obtained naturally by decomposition of dead plants and animals. That's why sometimes the dead bodies of rats, bandicoots, birds or dog, cats, they can be buried in the soil nearby the trees, so that the nutrients which are present are decomposed and added to the soil. Next, fertilizers. Fertilizers are chemical substances and not natural. It is not very rich in nutrients. It is rich in soil nutrients like nitrogen. These are very important. NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. It is slowly absorbed by the plants. Manures and fertilizers are soil additives that improve the soil quality, helping the plants to grow. Okay, they help the plants to grow. The main difference between the two is the manure is all natural animal droppings, while the fertilizers may be natural but may not have chemicals and other unknown substances added to it. Okay. More usage of chemical fertilizers will lead to salinity. Salinity means the soil becomes unfit for agriculture. So that's why these manures and fertilizers can be added together, or they can be added alternately, so that the soil balance can be maintained. Next, mineral nutrition in plants. So with that replenishment of nutrients in the soil, we have completed the lesson. Some additional concepts let us see. Mineral nutrition in plants. You know, plants required some minerals like carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. They are primary elements. They are primary elements, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. And the secondary and important elements which are required for growth are nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So total mineral salts or mineral nutrients can be divided into major elements and micro elements. Okay. The roots of green plants absorb a large number of elements from the soil. Okay. Like cobalt, magnesium, sulfur, zinc, boron, iron, copper, manganese, magnesium, okay, copper, carbon. The carbon is particularly available in the form of carbon dioxide synthesized by the photosynthesis. The carbon requirement can be fulfilled by the plants. Okay, and some of these elements are absolutely necessary for normal growth and development of the plant. isn't it? Definitely, because these elements will form the tissues in the plant. That's why they are absolutely necessary for the normal growth and development of the plant. The process involving the absorption and utilization of various mineral ions. The minerals are obtained are available in the form of ions like Mg2 plus, okay, Cu2 plus, Ca2 plus, like that, ions, anions and cations, mineral ions by plants for their growth and development. So that subject is called mineral nutrition. What is the definition of mineral nutrition? The process involving the absorption and utilization of various mineral ions by plants for their growth and development is called mineral nutrition. Let us proceed. Mineral nutrition in plants. Essentiality of elements for mineral nutrition. Why these? So this concept was introduced by Arnon, a scientist. So he conducted several experiments. And essentiality of minerals for mineral nutrition. The first one, he postulated three important postulates, three important points. What are they? The elements must absolutely essential for normal growth and development of the plant. This is the first postulate. Elements must be absolutely essential for normal growth and development of the plant. Second, the requirement of the element must be definite and cannot be replaced by another element. Okay, if potassium is required, that potassium only required. Its deficiency cannot be replaced by adding nitrogen. Okay, so the requirement of the element must be definite and it cannot be replaced by another element. Next, the element must be directly involved in the nutrition of the plant. The element must be directly involved in the nutrition of the plant, is a part of structural molecule and takes part in biochemical process. The element must be directly involved in the nutrition of the plant. For example, carbon dioxide. So carbon is directly involving, okay, and takes part in the biochemical reaction. What is that reaction? Photosynthesis. So like that, every element plays a specific role in the plant. So potassium has its own role, nitrogen has its own role, phosphorus has its own role, oxygen has its own role, hydrogen has its own role. So different elements plays its own role. They perform specific functions in the plant growth and development. Okay, children. So let us see some of the important minerals, the role of minerals in the plant nutrition. An element can play three types of roles in the plant, such as a structural role, electrochemical role and catalytic role. What are the three important roles played by the element? Structural, electrochemical, catalytic. The structural role includes its involvement in the formation of various components of the cell. Okay, for the formation of different components. For example, chlorophyll, it requires magnesium. Okay, so the elements play the structural role includes its involvement in the formation of various components of the cell. The chloroplast containing chlorophyll. The chlorophyll requires magnesium. Okay. Next, electrochemical role. Electrochemical role involves the balancing of ionic charges and stabilization of proteins and other macromolecules. The electrochemical role it is. It involves the balancing of ionic charges. Without balancing of ionic charges, the new compounds may not be formed. Okay, that may not lead to the formation of proteins. Okay, stabilization of proteins. And macromolecules means fatty acids, lipids, okay, starch. These are all macromolecules, large molecules. Catalytic role. Catalytic role is very, very important role. So enzymes act as catalyst, but the activation of the enzymes is the involvement as coenzyme. The catalytic role of element is its involvement as coenzyme or cofactor, without which the enzyme won't be active. Okay, some of the minerals act as a coenzymes or cofactors in enzyme reactions. Most of the micronutrients play catalytic role in the mineral nutrition. Most of the micronutrients means the nutrients which are required in less quantity. So most of the micronutrients play catalytic role in the mineral nutrition in plants. Let us go through these. There are 16 essential elements which play very important role in the plant growth and metabolic activities. What are those 16 essential elements? The total 16 essential elements are divided into two groups. One is major elements and the second one is trace elements. Major elements are also called macronutrients. Trace elements, they are also called micronutrients. Okay, what are trace elements? The elements which are required in small quantities for the growth and development of the plant are called as trace elements or micro elements. Means these are already present in the plant can synthesize in its body. Okay, whereas the major elements are not synthesized in the body of the plant, so they are required in large quantities. What are they? Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. These are the primary elements which are required for the formation of carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Okay, and the next major element, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, NPK. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and calcium, sulfur, magnesium. Okay, these are the 9 major elements and 7 micro elements which plays very, very important role in the life of the plant, which plays very crucial role in the metabolic functions of the plant system. Okay, so the symptoms of deficiency of these elements causes different types of diseases in the plants. Let us see the importance of these elements in the form of one chart. So children, listen carefully. Based on this only today's quiz. Boron deficiency chart of micronutrients. Here nearly some 8 micronutrients are given. Boron, sulfur, manganese, zinc, magnesium, phosphorus, calcium, iron, copper, molybdenum, potassium, nitrogen. Okay, one by one we will see. In the single plant, the leaves showing different symptoms is mentioned here. In your mobile, you can enlarge the mobile so that you can see the picture. Boron, the discoloration of leaf buds, breaking and dropping of buds. See here, the discoloration of leaf buds and breaking and dropping of buds is the symptom of deficiency of boron. Next, sulfur. Sulfur deficiency, leaves become light green or yellowish or pale green. No spots are there on the leaf. Leaf become pale yellow or green. Okay, this is a symptom of deficiency of sulfur. Then manganese, Mn. Manganese means Mn. The leaves are pale in color. Leaves are pale in color. Veins and venules dark green, means the middle. This is dark green and the leaves are pale in color. Veins and venules are dark green and reticulated. Okay, so the venation appears clearly. So in dicot plants this is reticulated. Next, zinc. Zinc is the most important element. It plays very important functions in the plant. Leaves become pale, zinc deficiency, you see. Leaves become pale and narrow. It will not be normal. And short veins. Veins are very short. Here veins are big. Normal leaf and this deficiency leaf you have to compare so that you can understand clearly. Okay. So the leaves become narrow, short veins, dark green, and the dark spots on the leaf edges here. Dark spots on the leaf edges. So these are the symptoms of zinc deficiency. Then magnesium. Magnesium also, once again, paleness from the leaf edges. Leaf edges become pale, no spots, edges have cup shaped folds. The cup shaped folds. Leaves die and drop in extreme deficiency. Leaves become dry and drop in extreme deficiency. That is the symptom of magnesium. Next, phosphorus. Phosphorus plant become short and the dark green. See, the leaf is becoming short and dark green. Okay, and in the extreme deficiencies turn brown and or black. Turn brown or black color. The bronze color under the leaf. Leaf gets a bronze color. Under the leaf means lower surface of the leaf. Next, calcium. The plant become dark green and tender leaves become pale. Drying starts from the tips. Here see, pale, dark, these are all the symptoms of this calcium. Starts from the tips, eventually the leaf bends and die. Okay, it will loses its natural shape and die. Iron deficiency. Iron deficiency in the leaves become pale, no spots, but the major veins become green. See here, major veins become green, leaf become pale. Copper, pale pink between the veins, wilt and drop. Here, pale pink, leaves become wilt and drop. Next, molybdenum. Leaves are light green, lemon yellow color it turns into, or orange color. Spots here, spots on whole leaf except veins. Veins means these dark portions, green color. So except on the veins, remaining portions, spots appear. Sticky secretions from the underleaf. Okay. Next, potassium. Potassium deficiency, small spots appear on the tips, edges of the pale leaves. See, the edge become dry somewhat. Spots turn rusty, means iron rust like brown color, rusty, and folds at the tips, folds at the tip. Nitrogen deficiency, the stunted growth, extremely pale color here, and the upright leaves with light green or yellowish and appear burnt in extreme deficiency. Okay, this is the some important 8 mineral nutrients and their deficiency symptoms. Okay, children, let us proceed. So today's class ended. So today's quiz include the symptoms of these plants and leaves. So this may not be included in your quiz, means in your tomorrow's exam, but up to replenishment of nutrients you need to read the textbook thoroughly so that you can write exam well tomorrow. Let us proceed, children. Identify what this plant is deficient in. Okay, here one image is given. See here, pinkish color spots on the green leaves. It is due to the deficiency of boron. Okay, boron deficiency causes this kind of symptoms. Dark spots, leaf become pinkish. Okay, next, identify what this plant is deficient in. Nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, calcium. What is the plant here? See, shriveling or folding of the leaves, and leaves become pale. What are these symptoms? Symptoms of deficiency of calcium. Next, identify what this plant is deficient. Boron, copper, magnesium, nitrogen. So here also yellow color and shriveling of the leaf. Leaf loses its natural structure. At the edges of the leaf bended. Okay, these are the symptoms of copper deficiency. Copper deficiency in the soil. Okay, children. Next, identify what this plant is deficient. Nitrogen, potassium, zinc, magnesium. So here the leaf turns yellow and some part of the leaf veins appear bright, but the surface becomes light yellow. These are the symptoms of deficiency of nitrogen. Nitrogen deficiency is the most common deficiency in the plants. Next, identify what this plant is deficient in. Phosphorus, potassium, nitrogen, copper. See which one? See here the edge of the leaf. It is due to deficiency of phosphorus. Okay, it is also commonly seen in some croton plants. Mostly the plants show the deficiency of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Okay. Next, identify what this plant is deficient. See, dry appearance with some spots on the edges, veins are green, and the remaining part of the leaf becomes pale yellow, and drying also there, burnt like appearance. So it is the deficiency of potassium. Next, identify what this plant is deficient. Sulfur, copper, magnesium, nitrogen. See here the leaf yellowish spots, the drying at the edges of the leaf. These are all the symptoms of magnesium. magnesium deficiency, because chlorophyll, some symptoms called chlorosis and necrosis. Necrosis means death of the tissue, chlorosis means death of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll dies. Okay, magnesium is the important constituent of chlorophyll. So the leaf is turning yellow color and the edges become dry. Next, what is the function of root nodules in leguminous plants? Store food, provide extra strength, perform photosynthesis, give shelter to bacteria. So what is the main function of the leguminous function of root nodules? It is to give shelter to bacteria. Identify what is this plant is deficient. Once again, sulfur, nitrogen, copper, boron. So yellowish color appearance, this is due to sulfur deficiency. Pale leaf become total pale and yellow color, then it will drop from the plant. Next, the plant's response to minerals and nutrients. It is called thigmotrophism, chemotrophism, gravitrophism, hydrotropism. Okay, trophism means movement of the plant towards when we touch thigmotrophism, when due to the chemical chemotrophism, to gravitational force gravitrophism, due to water hydrotropism. Okay, here minerals and nutrients means chemicals, so it is chemotrophism. Okay, children, prepare well for the tomorrow's exam. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.